Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting of April 2nd, 2026. So I'm going to open the meeting pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F. After notifying the chair of the public body, any person may record or transmit this open meeting. This hybrid meeting is being recorded by the town of Stockbridge. The names of members participating remotely will be announced. Any member of the public wishing to speak must first receive permission from the chair. The agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, but not all may be discussed. And other topics not listed may be brought up for discussion by the public body as permitted by law. So first point of order is the special permit hearing to consider the application for the property of Chauncey and Elizabeth Collins located at 2 Cherry Street. The applicant is requesting authorization pursuant to section 6.1.2 of the zoning bylaws to allow the extension, alteration, reconstruction, or change in use of a non-conforming single-family dwelling. Addition of a new screened porch. The property is in the R1 zone. Is the applicant or someone representing the applicant here tonight to tell us about the project?
Yes, Terry Bartini, Berkshire Design.
Thank you.
And then on Zoom is Matt Hunt from SK Design also.
Thank you. Welcome.
Roll call vote, Councilman.
Oh, I'm going to roll call vote to open the hearing.
Hi, Georgia.
Hi, Jamie.
Okay,
Come on up.
you just come to the table here.
I was gonna say, what's more or less
Chair.
official or less official? So Carrie Bartini, I am an architect with Berkshire Design in Pittsfield. So the Collins are seeking to, they're putting some TLC into this house. So they're doing a renovation. There's a lot of deferred maintenance over the years. The only thing they're really seeking to change is that there is an existing screen porch that just isn't in the right location, really. Let's see, let's orient ourselves. So this is Cherry Street here. And to sort of give you some context, this is the golf course. And then the river is right here. So this is the existing main house. There is right here an existing screen porch. It's just really not ideal location. So they were seeking to remove that screen porch and essentially in the same square footage, just slightly different dimensions, to move that screen porch off of the living room where could get better use of it.
So we're the gray box.
Yep, the dark gray. So the corner of it, the closest it comes to the property line is just over 13 feet, which is still further away than you can see. That garage is, it's like 6 inches to a foot off of the property line. So we're just seeking to move the screen porch essentially. And the goal is of course to not make it any more non-conforming. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at the drawings, but the new screen porch is very much in keeping with the existing architecture of the existing house. So we're still going to be using hip roofs, still going to be using the same materials. It's just that it will be relocated to a different location.
And it's the same square footage.
Yeah, so it's about 220 square feet. It's just that this 220 is, just a different shape. This is more square, that's more rectangular.
Okay.
Have we had any comments from abutters?
Nope. So
Still in
this
the
is
back of the
property line
house,
here.
basically.
Yep, so this is the
house
property,
is
yes.
This house goes over the property line?
No, it does not. It stays within the property line. It's just that, it's very tight. Like,
It looks like
Yeah.
it's over.
here you can get a piece of
Yeah.
paper, here you can get 6 inches,
Okay.
it's tight, for sure.
No, it's no more non-conformity.
Yeah, no, we're not going, but we're still making sure that we're keeping this thing as far back as reasonably possible. We also wanted to make, we also want to make sure that there's egress windows above that. Right now, there's tiny little windows and it's a bedroom upstairs. So we want to make it more conforming code-wise as far as making sure that people have a way out of the second floor. So we did work really hard to make sure that that shape is an appropriate shape that also provides egress above, so.
Okay. And it's still in the back of the house.
It's still in the back of the house. This is all, you can see the tree line here. It's all wood. So there would be some screening provided.
I don't see a problem.
I don't either.
Make a motion, we approve the permit.
I'll second. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Hi, Georgia.
just need you to add the condition that, so
Oh.
by our bylaws, we have to give 35 days for the other boards to comment.
Okay.
And because of the schedule of the select board with a bunch of stuff going on,
Yeah,
that will be April 6th is 35 days. Boards would have to meet
sorry, April
April 6th, that's. Monday.
April 6th. Oh, okay.
So effective.
Oh, it's from when it was.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, not today.
Effective.
Okay.
Yeah, so 35 days was,
Not gonna
we
wait,
didn't want to have
wait to May.
almost
The
another
next
month,
meeting.
yeah,
we have
before
to
the
make a
board
motion?
meets. So just if you would add that it's effective April.
the
6th,
condition is that it's a, okay, that makes sense.
Which means something has to come tomorrow.
Yeah, right, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, and this would take effect by April 6, 2026, which is 35 days from when it was applied for. Do I have a second?
Second.
We all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Oh, aye, Jane.
I, Georgia. Yeah, sorry.
well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for making that quick and painless.
And we'll have it available next week.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And so the next step is, do we have to come back to you to get any sort of paperwork that has to be filed?
No, we'll give it to the building department that'll allow them. to-
Okay, so when they apply for a permit, then
Yep.
they're in good shape.
Yep.
Excellent.
You're
Very
welcome.
cool. Thank you very much.
All right.
Hope you guys have a breezy night and can get dinner soon.
Thanks. All right. Next, approval of minutes from March 12th and March 19th. I have a motion.
For the minutes.
Second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Georgia.
Hi, Jamie. All right, we're up to the famous part of public comment. Does anyone from the floor or Zoom land like to make a 2-minute public comment? Seeing none, moving on. I'd like to appoint the Agricultural and Forestry Commission, Mike
Do tell.
Dutel, sorry. And do we need to make a motion
Yep, I'll make a motion that we appoint Mike Dutel to
and a second?
Forestry Commission.
All in favor?
Aye, Georgia.
Amy? Okay, done. So we're gonna vote to approve the new building and related inspection fees. There should be a chart you have in your packet. And Teresa was kind enough to do a lot of research. And
I guess I have a question is
Yep.
on this sheet, not that it matters for us because we're just voting on our particular fees, but Great Barrington's and Beckett's electrical fees aren't listed on this.
Yeah, so. Which one's that? The electrical are?
For Great Barrington and Beckett. Or, oh, I'm sorry, never mind.
Yeah, they.
CIs.
Yep. I'm not, yeah, they currently don't have any permit fee for that,
Oh, okay.
so,
All right.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but what the goal of this was, both the building department individuals and Teresa worked on putting the spreadsheet with Caroline from the building department, and trying to go to a uniform building code across the towns, so once everybody's in effect, we'll all end up with the same building fees across the board.
And do we need a motion or anything?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the fees.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. All right, here we go. Consideration of Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 6N, Private Ways Temporary Repair Bylaw. So there's a Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 6N, which allows municipalities to authorize temporary repairs to private ways and establish related provisions, including the type and extent of repairs, drainage considerations, petition thresholds from abutters, and potential betterment, assessments and liability limits. And I believe it's Adam Plummer would like.
Yeah.
All right.
How you all doing?
Good, you?
Okay, I similarly brought some plans, but they're a decent amount older, not enough for the whole class. Let's see, they might be too big for the table. So, one,
Share.
okay, you get your own,
Okay.
And one for Michael.
and Michael gets one, and even I get my own, so
Wow.
there you go. Wish I could say that was planned, but it wasn't. Okay. So. Share two, otherwise it's gonna get a little awkward.
These.
So, a little bit of history. I'm gonna take only a couple minutes on this because it's extensive. In 1949, the Wheatley estate was sold and divided into three distinct categories. First was the parcel to the south, which became the Music Inn. The Barbers acquired that. The middle section, the actual estate, was acquired by the BSO. And the north section was acquired by a company led by Walter Wilson called the Mackinac Lake Development Company. And they were in charge of basically subdividing that parcel in addition to other parcels abutting Mackinac Lake, Stockbridge Bowl. And over the course of 10 years, they did some mild subdivision. They sold off a couple of parcels. And then approaching 1960, they came up with the plan that's in front of you right now, which is a more aggressive subdivision of the parcels that are not abutting Lily Pond. So Lily Pond is on the opposite side of Wheatley Drive as you're looking on this plan. It's, at the bottom, it's just not posted. So as part of this plan, a private way was laid out. Several private ways were laid out. Principally, Wheatley Drive in two directions. One approaching Mackinac Road, which right now is Hawthorne Road, and the other, which is labeled as Hawthorne Street, still Hawthorne Street. And a couple of other private ways were established. These two private ways, now known as Wheatley Drive, were previously known as like gravel paths on the original Wheatley estate. The one going east-west, which on this map is going up-down, was known as the Meany Cottage Way, and then the north-south, which in this case is left to right, was known as the Bona Cottage Way. Now, Billy Bona still lives at the end of Wheatley Drive. His family owned the cottage to begin with. Now, over the course of the interceding years, a couple of things happened with this community. A lot of these parcels were sold off, not in this existing configuration. Most of Gideon Drive, as laid out here, is a paper street, although this plan is still accepted. Emerson Street was renamed to Emerson Drive, I believe, or Emerson Road. Spelling was altered, and a couple of other minor alterations. In addition, in the late 70s, the architect David Rothstein acquired the Music Inn and a lot of the land abutting Lily Pond on the opposite side of Wheatley Drive. Over the course of that time, the Music Inn declined and David Rothstein pivoted to develop the land both for the Music Inn and this parcel into first the White Pines condos and then to other subdivided lots on this side of the pond, some of which were previously sold before him. Now, where this gets interesting is that in the late 80s, early 90s, he was really winding down all of this. The Pines opened in the early 90s, and a parcel of land on Wheatley Drive in the bottom right corner of this map, about 22 acres in total, was gifted to the town of Stockbridge via the Conservation Commission. It is subject to, I believe it's Article 7. It's one of the articles that dictates the transfer of land to conservation commissions. So it is protected land, but it is not open to the public. It doesn't have a conservation restriction, and there is no guidance for public use. As a result, Wheatley Drive was laid out originally and accepted by the town as a private way and remains that way to this day. Now, in the intermediary time, the ownership of the road came into question. But by looking at the deed, I found that the north-south portion of the road, which again is left to right here, was transferred in ownership first from the Mackinac Lake Development Company over to David Rothstein back to the White Pines development. So north-south is owned by White Pines. White Pines sits over here, again, at the south end of the entire parcel. The north end, again, is that public way. The east-west portion, in addition to Emerson Street and what remains of Gideon Drive, are owned in principle by a defunct corporation still controlled today by David Rothstein. In theory, this land is subject to derelict fee. Only one claim has been made in the middle section here by a private homeowner. No other claims have been made to date. Derelict fee does not apply to this portion because, again, White Pines owns their private road that abuts this private road. That's our history. Any questions on that before we move forward?
Mm-mm. Not at the moment, but
Okay, we'll come back to it, I'm sure.
So White Pines
Yes.
is
This side or that
this
side?
side.
White Pines is this side, which is the left-hand side.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so this side is the public entrance
That's the street.
and the public parcel is here. Now, where this comes into the present day is that the subdivision, the plan that is put in front of you right now, was done in the 50s and 60s before the subdivision laws really took hold, before it became common practice for private road associations or condominium associations to be the ruling entity over common ground. And so it was seen as common in interest. All abutters have an easement over every single street on this plan. So they have an easement over a right of way, not any other rights. It's just for a right of way. Now, easement holders, as I'm sure you know, have an obligation to maintain. They are the benefited party, the aggrieved party. The owners of the roads do not have the obligation to maintain because they don't see the primary benefit of use. So what we have in the present day is two segments of roads, the principal segments of Wheatley Drive, that have come into a little bit of disrepair. And it has been, to my understanding, I've lived at 6 Wheatley Drive, which is the corner lot here, for the past 3 years. It's been my understanding for the past 20 years or so that maintenance of the road has been haphazard at best and dangerous at worst. We still need access from emergency vehicles that need to transit the drive for any number of reasons. We need to maintain safe passage for those who are not aware that it's not a public road. This is a secret, but not so secret bypass to get around Tanglewood traffic when there's traffic along Hawthorne Street to the Hawthorne Street entrance to Tanglewood, which is here, or the Lionsgate lot, which is up here. So the issue here for us, my neighbors and myself included, is that by virtue of the fact that we don't have a private road association that automatically includes all abutters, and creating one is an entirely voluntary process by state law, we're looking for other options to maintain. And we came across this bylaw, Chapter 40, Section 6N, and it seemed like a good fit where enough abutters can say enough is enough. We ask the town for some help. We foot the bill. Everybody walks away happy. And it becomes a tax liability, a one-off tax liability that does not impact overall property tax levels, but is still a write-off, for tax purposes, which, is also nice. The interesting part of this is that we would be okay passing the 6N bylaw, and we would recommend that be included for this year's town meeting for a vote by the general public. But the inclusion of the parcel owned by the town adds an interesting wrinkle. As I mentioned, all abutters have an obligation to maintain whether or not they make use of the road or not. You can imagine that by virtue of the fact that the town occupies that lot, that deprives another private homeowner from occupying that lot who would otherwise be responsible for paying into some sort of maintenance. Right now, we have a voluntary collection of approximately $1,500 per resident abutter that contributes to a universal fund that maintains gravel conditions on the road, as well as plowing and salting, etc., during the winter. So where that leaves us is that since the town acquired the lot in the late 80s, early 90s, the town has not contributed, nor has anyone asked the town to contribute. But while we're looking at this issue, it would be remiss of us not to ask that not only would the town step in some capacity, yet to be defined, but also if there is a way without the bylaw for the town to opt in to maintenance, to add this road to the list of roads maintained by the town, not necessarily accepted as a public way, that would be even better. It would remove a lot of the organizational headaches that this bylaw would introduce. It would put to rest this question of obligation and maintenance, and the private residents would still foot all of the bill that we are responsible for. Now, there are provisions in Massachusetts general law outside of this bylaw that allow for the town to levy betterment taxes. And so it's not that this bylaw introduces that authority already exists. So again, I'm going to pause. Any questions about any of that?
How many of these lots are actually owned by people? I mean, how many in this, because you're asking for us to take on not just Wheatley, but also Gideon and Emerson.
I'm not asking that, no. But it was for the sake of the bylaw, it could be that anyone abutting Emerson Street or Gideon Drive could make a similar request. That's why if there's a way to do this without the bylaw, I don't want to open up a can of monkeys, for the town.
So you're just looking at this piece down here?
I'm looking at the north-south portion, the east-west portion.
Okay.
So in total,
You're saying that the town's not contributing because we have that
It's a
piece of
private-
property?
No, I think because it's a private road.
No, but you're saying the town's not contributing because,
we've never asked.
but just for the roads, not because we have that conservation piece of property, correct?
I'm sorry, I'm
Because you said the town has. a good-
22 acres.
22 acres abutting the road.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not why you're asking the town to contribute or,
That is one of the reasons, yes.
but that is a non-public access piece of property, so it's no use to the town. It's just, we don't,
The town,
residents aren't parking there and walking that.
I
that
understand,
property.
but
So it's basically just a conserved piece of property that,
from a legal perspective, the town owns it.
yeah,
It's as if a private owner had owned it. They own the title.
Not entirely true, but because everyone has a right. So everybody could maintain and everybody reserves a right to go over it. I did check with legal on this question asked, and the only way would be the bylaw. It is a private way. Now, whether or not an argument can be made that the town should be contributing something because it's one of the abutters as a separate, could be dealt with in the different provisions within that law, how you define everything.
And we're okay
It
with
would
it.
have to come from that. But as far as just creating an obligation to the town, no, it doesn't. So it would have to be this bylaw that
So-
would have to be passed at town meeting. And the one thing is, it's not a vote for one particular road.
I
It's a
understand.
vote for all private roads.
Yeah, it would be all private.
The legal question does the town have to proactively issue some sort of contribution? The way that the law is laid out is that if a maintenance action is taken, we can make a claim in civil court for that contribution to be reimbursed if the town declines, for instance, to contribute. So we're trying to set up a paradigm where it's more proactive, but it could be the case where the town is liable for something like that.
You can make that claim, but yeah.
I understand.
Anybody can make whatever claim, but legal counsel, there is no obligation for the town to. We could, as anybody that's part of that land that has over the right of way. So, yeah.
There's also a question of liability. If the town does not maintain, they are liable for any damages as a party that occur. It is.
So when you buy a parcel of land in this section, wouldn't it be in the deed that the road is private? Wouldn't it already be in the deed? I'm
So
just asking.
typically what happens with subdevelopments, especially these older ones, one of two things. Either the road is kept in private ownership, what this road is, which means there's still an entity that owns the road. But what happens is all the people on the road have an easement over the road, which allows them to both traverse over it in order to have access to their parcel, meets frontage requirements, things like that. The other one is if the road was not owned by an entity, then everybody would own from in front of their frontage to the middle of the road.
That's the derelict fee
Part
schedule.
of the two sections of law that would happen. And then each person would be responsible for that section of
the
road.
driveway
technically.
road,
And
okay.
that, in this case, it is owned by a separate entity. It is a private way.
So, Michael, I just want to push back for a second. When you say that the owner would be responsible for the segment of road to the middle of the road, that's not how it works out from a liability standpoint. As I mentioned before, the easement owners are the benefited party. They are responsible for maintenance along that road. You may have ownership and the fee interest to the middle, but not the obligation to maintain. Because you share the easement with everybody else, you share that responsibility, but it's not your exclusive responsibility for that parcel, for that slot. Just wanted to add that color.
And I guess you had brought up about Tanglewood and people traveling. We don't have anything to do with Tanglewood, so that argument doesn't work.
It's not an argument. It was just a point that we wanted to make.
Yeah.
I mean,
Regardless, the board shouldn't consider it legal, does not. Yeah.
I mean, these roads are, I travel them working in houses there, and it's a massive amount of work to get these roads back into shape. And it's got to be through this one, then we open up to every
But
private
how-
road in
So-
town, which is miles and miles of dirt.
The way that it would be scoped, so if we're adopting the bylaw, we have exclusive control over how the bylaw is authored. There can be a maximum cap that is, the maximum that the town would foot to begin with. I also want to mention that, however we structure this bylaw, the betterment fees that would be assessed on the abutters would cover all costs. So we're talking about a time burden on the town, which I can't speak to. Obviously, I don't know.
So if it's covering all the costs, why isn't the road maintained?
Because you have a lack of organization.
Well, organize it.
That's what we're asking for help with.
Oh,
I can't see us approving taking over pretty much every private road in
I
town.
will say that it is, one thing I will say about language is we are not taking over the roads.
Correct.
They still remain private roads. It authorizes us to create a betterment. It authorizes us to say how many people would have to approve it. So you could say, well, all 100%, every person on that road would have to say, yes, I want my road repaired. Then the town would come and do the repair and apply the betterment fee to all of them. If you word it that way and just one says, I'm not doing it, then the project doesn't move forward.
And it's entirely voluntary.
Then they all say they're doing it and then half don't pay, the town's stuck with the money.
Well, it's actually, the nice thing about a betterment is it's added to your tax bill and is a failure to pay your tax and creates a lien against your house. That is the same thing that we do for the Beechwood,
I was gonna ask
regardless.
about Beech-
It
Yeah, but
would- If it's
they're-
added onto their tax bill and they can't pay you can't pay a partial tax bill. You either pay your tax bill or you're in default. So if
But
you pay
they maintain their own roads. This is having our highway department.
upon,
or a separate-
however you set the criteria for a request from a private road. Say town meeting was to authorize this. The one problem is once town meeting authorized, the select board would then have to set the criteria for how this is going to work. You would have to say you said 100%. Then if on that street, everybody on the street said, yes, we want our road fixed, the town would then do the project based on how we've established the betterment to be calculated. So if we say it's 100% of the cost, then it's 100% of the cost. And maybe what you say is it's going to be over 10 years. So what that would be is the road would then be fixed. They would then get a fee on their tax bill for the next 10 years that they have to
2
pay
years,
or
5
be in
years.
default. The biggest thing is you're getting a tax lien. That's why both this and the other one that happened at Beechwood are so powerful, is that the town is always first in order on any legalities against a home, any takings or other thing. The problem is there are we just began talking about this and that there are a whole bunch of things to consider, right? The overall impact, when would it go into effect? It would have to go to a town meeting because you'd still have to get approval for the money. So if we're going to front the money for, say it's
$1 million.
$1 million project to fix the road.
Yeah.
So,
If I can jump in for just a second.
Does the highway department do it, or is this we hire?
no, we could hire out, we could, yeah.
The other thing that I want to clarify here is that the bylaw allows for specifying a minimum deposit that the abutters would need to pay to qualify for the betterment. So it could be, and I have seen in other towns, a 50% deposit, for instance. And for a sufficiently high betterment, that offsets the risk dramatically. And even for smaller betterments, it creates a barrier of entry where not everyone's going to do it.
And have you surveyed or asked your neighbors if they'd be willing?
I have, and the vast majority would. That's not just a push-pull kind of thing.
I know
I have
we
the
need
data.
100%, right?
Well, we don't need,
No, I'm saying that if you read the language of the rule, it says that you can establish if a betterment charge is
To be assessed.
how many, right?
percentage of a butter.
Percentage of a butters.
50%,
So
we
the
could
board
say
might say-
70%.
Right, but you say only 50% are willing, the other 50 still benefit if the road is fixed.
And they still pay.
They still pay.
Then they'll still pay.
They still pay. If the criteria is established 50%.
To
So,
ask for it.
ask
Everyone's
for
on the hook from
So-
the abutter standpoint.
Okay.
I believe a lot of times, what I saw was a lot of times it's something like 80%. So if there's a couple people that don't want to,
Couple
but
holdouts.
most
But I
want.
thought, because like Beechwood is an organized, they sort of have an association. And
They became
put
a
in-
separate taxing district,
Yeah,
which allows them, one thing allows them to take that money that they tax themselves on, collect that money back and then hire out. If the town's hiring out, we're going to have to follow all the procedures.
So
How-
let's say this goes through. And you're talking $3 million to get these roads up and running. So we gotta use tax money to do it and then tax them over a certain amount of time.
You can have the deposit up to, say, 50%.
It
Then
could
you can
be-
say
it
they
could
have
be
to
a
come up
sliding
with
scale.
Then you
2.5.
got $1.5 million of tax dollars
Well, I'm saying it could
Probably
be a
what we
sliding
do is we
scale
would-
with a maximum.
for this one. Then you go down to the next private road, another $2 million, the next private road,
But-
another $1.5 million.
but does that open
That
us,
could open us up to
So
10, $15 million on the tax roll.
again, it's
Can it?
it's the sort of thing where you could
Well-
say,
Chuck asked a question, so we probably should.
okay,
If that was to happen, more than likely what would happen is you're going to take 50%. Let's just assume we use 50%. So it's a $5 million project. You borrow 2.5 million, take the interest and use the betterment. In the end, you can make it so it doesn't cost the taxpayers a dime. You can actually set it up that way. The biggest thing is that the town's now taking over the coordination and repairs of private roads based on the request
but does,
of the people that live on that street. So we would establish, say 100% or 80%. And if there's 20 people on the street, 16 would have to say, we're in on the betterment. And that would force the entire street to pay for that betterment. In the end, the betterment is benefits in the word. It's the people are paying for the improvements themselves.
but does that mean we
better.
keep repairing every year?
no, it's every single,
Just once?
yeah.
Upon,
Sorry, am I
it's
not?
actually, well, I think we can, it's upon request of, once you establish the criteria, it's on request of the individuals.
Every time it's a new request. And the bylaw can be structured such that you limit, for instance, you can't make more than one or two requests, cumulative, $100,000, something like that. If we wanted to start small, and then if there's success here, we could expand it out.
So
But does that open us up to everyone who's on a private road to say?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
Individually.
And Patrick's been aching to ask a question.
Well, I know I'm just, do you mind if I come up?
Why not?
Join us.
I am in a butter to both the road and the conservation property that is being referenced. Couple of things. One, the conservation property was given to the town by David when he was in tax default because he couldn't get it to perk. So we ended up basically waiving the taxes and ended up with that 20. I think that's, I don't know if you were involved. but,
It was in the 70s
I
now.
don't think that's.
no, it was in the 80s.
90s.
It was in the 80s, it was in the 90s, yeah, yeah. And I don't have a sense of dates. A couple of things I would point out, if your road was built in the 1700s, that road is maintained by the town. If your road was built in the 1800s, that road is maintained by the town. If your road was built in the 1900s, and this road was built specifically around the deal that Mary and John made with David to shut down Music Inn, they were like, we'll let you build 53 condos and we don't build condos in Stockbridge. So what the town ended up with was not only 53 condos there, but ended up with 12 homes on Emerson Lane, another 4 or so on Gideon Drive, about a dozen on Wheatley Drive. And this all abuts the Wheatley property. There's about maybe $125-150 million of the town's EQV in that neighborhood. And so when we talk about kind of the town having to take some obligation for it, there's a giant amount of tax revenue that comes in from these 20th century homes that were built on private roads, that if your home was part of like kind of this village center, you benefit from road maintenance, but you don't get it now. And I think that the other point is I wouldn't look at the price tag. If it's $1.5 million improvement over 30 years with interest, that's $40,000 a year. It's not like that's $1.5 million out of our pocket. That is bonded out. All right. So I think that what we need to look at is kind of what's a fair resolution around how much these neighbors who pay a significant amount of taxes to this town, and how much is fair to be a burden on the town itself. And I would add one last thing. I think that as part of this discussion, it would be appropriate. I'm personally, as a guy who is abuts that conservation property that is public land, the public should have access to that land. And you have a parcel on Wheatley Drive that would allow for public access. And as part of this discussion, if now we're going to do this.
We're not going there tonight. We're talking about this.
Okay, well, this is
That could
on
be
that.
another topic.
But,
Yeah, that's not what.
It's
this is
not- we're talking about the
This is about
roads.
a section of law. And It's
Okay.
not about what the town chips in. It's whether or not we're going to use a betterment and just the town's going to coordinate
Yeah.
the repair.
so let me just be devil's advocate and say, okay, so we take this on this bylaw
Thank you,
and we
Patrick.
pass this bylaw. And then, okay, so they come in where they want that fixed. We have Beechwood that comes in and they want all their roads fixed. We have Clark Road. We have Cherry Bounce Lane. We have all these private roads and they all come in the same year. That's going to be,
Yeah, we go out as a single project but we'd have to break it out by each road, figure out the cost. It is
we would have,
theoretically, I don't think Beechwood would come in because they don't
They have a-
have, they already have a.
they already have that.
We
but
have a lot of private roads.
Yeah.
We have a lot of private roads. And so if we
Most of them
have
are in really bad shape.
more than one private road on a specific year, I mean, it's more than our highway department can handle. We'd
Wouldn't
have
be
to,
highway.
we could not do it. We
More
would
than
have to
likely, we would contract out.
go through the bidding process and everything.
That we have to do.
And we have to pay prevailing wage.
Yep.
Where if they just went on their own,
Yep.
they wouldn't have to.
Right.
But then you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in engineering fees and.
Right.
Potentially, right?
No,
That's
not
the worst
potentially,
case.
because these roads are,
They're old.
It's so the way that the betterment bylaw is structured is that you can specify the exact scope of the repair requested. If I say, I just want a pothole filled in, that's all that's going to happen, right? It's not that every single private road is going to come in and say, we want to pay immediately to get this thing paved. A lot of abutters, I would argue, you're all skeptical and hesitant to take on some of that cost. Imagine what these people are going to say. There's a reason that they likely haven't done this already. We're asking because we, by and large, have done this and have a mode of doing this. And we would like the town to help, both from, a good neighbor perspective, but also because we see a tremendous amount of turnover in these properties. And without a formal association, which is next to impossible under state law to effectively create and manage, we don't have a ton of options. So we're asking for help. And if we want to scope this appropriately aggressively such that, no betterment can exceed $10,000, That's fine with us because that's our use case. We're not asking you to open Pandora's box here. We're asking for some help.
So if you read the language.
Indirectly,
say
it is opening a box.
It is.
You can include the type and extent of the repairs, whether drainage is going to be considered, the thresholds for butters, and then the potential betterment assessments. So, and that would be like the 50% upfront, the remainder paid over 10 years. Those are all the things that can be considered. So. So you could establish that no road will be fixed, we wouldn't spend more than 100,000 on a road and require 50% up.
But those are all things.
Then how do we decide which road?
What do you mean?
You don't decide which roads. You would enact this bylaw. It allows the select board to establish the provisions and establish the related provisions. So you pass the bylaw, the select board then needs to set the parameters. Once you set the parameters, then that's going to trigger everything.
So this would be to be you're requesting it on the town meeting warrant this year.
Correct.
And then we still have to do the criteria. We wouldn't even have the criteria before, which is to me, is an issue.
Right.
I'd rather
It's kind of hard to.
wait and.
And we'd still have to figure out, well, you would, right, and you'd still have to go to town meeting to authorize any borrowings. So any requests that come in a year would still have to be vetted, everything, meet the criteria, and then would go to town meeting because select board can't authorize borrowings for use of town money without town meeting approval. So it'd basically be you take your requests during the year and then whatever they would be, they'd go to town meeting to authorize, say, a borrowing to fix the following private roads, and you'd list them out. And then you'd do the betterments. So there's a bunch to this.
So in the first, if it went to town meeting, is it a majority vote or a 2/3 vote?
I would guess that it's just a majority vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this would be on a town bylaw.
The general bylaw.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And if the town decided to approve it, during the board would then, over the summer, need to establish the criteria, all those different categories, how it's going to work. Then during the year, requests would come in, and then we'd have to go to town meeting to approve either a borrowing to fix those or for funds to be appropriated to fix them because the board just can't spend funds and that, or take on borrowings.
So
You could set the criteria very high.
Yeah.
And a lot of communities do. I've seen 80%, I've seen the 50%.
Deposit.
Upfront deposit required. The 80% seems to be a very common number for how many on the street, because like I said, it allows, if there's 100 homes, you need to get 80 of them to say, yes, we want to pay extra in our taxes.
There's about 25 lots here.
Right.
Well, this isn't demonstrative of what exists today. It's
I'll just
just how it was laid out.
Right.
Just easy that you still have you set high thresholds, and then if they're met, then the town says, okay, we'll take on the responsibility of fixing this road. In the end, it would still cost the town nothing, but there is time, bidding, all those things that are going to happen.
Which costs.
Yeah.
To Patrick's point, though, we are all paying into town taxes and very largely
but you
don't
did
benefit.
buy and build on a
by-
private road. It wasn't like it snuck up on you.
I understand.
That's about the deed, yeah.
I don't know,
I guess what's the harm in putting it to the public vote in this case?
I don't like bringing things up in a town meeting unless we know the.
They're not
answers to-
educated. They're not gonna,
We could ask questions, if
Well,
we can't
the-
answer them, then.
The substance of the bylaw would be part of the warrant, right? They would be able to read it?
Well, the way it's worded, it would go in because it's authorized, it would authorize the temporary repairs of private ways and establish related provisions. So the bylaw itself would just say that. The select board will come up with the provisions.
No, I understand, but it's not like we're just saying authorize a bylaw pursuant to 6N. It would be the whole blurb.
Yes.
Yeah, so it would be there.
And I'm sure there'd be a lot of questions like this and everything else that would be happening.
Well, I'm thinking along the lines of, one, we take the summer and come up with all that stuff. percentage, all that, see what other private roads want to come in. So we can have understanding that we don't just do this and get bombarded by every other one. And come up with all the,
So basically study it to bring to the,
So we
instead
go
of
to-
this town meeting to the.
so go,
to
when we go to
next
the town meeting, we have 80% or 50%, we have how many roads are on it, what, and have
Take
all
that
the
approach
information.
too.
So that's, I feel comfortable with that. I don't feel
Here's-
comfortable with
But
bringing
then
this up without the information.
What, George?
you would have to, I'm just saying, if we did it Chucky's way and come and put it on next year, in the meantime, then possible, right? Then in the meantime, you would have to know what you wanted to do with the roads. So that would be another article, so that it could, if it
We
passed,
could do them jointly, right?
yeah, jointly, then it could happen. But you have to
What's jointly in this case?
Another-
It's a thread.
What
adopt.
I was saying is that first on the agenda at town meeting for next year would be this article
Yeah.
with the provisions, 80% stuff. Then after this would be the next couple of articles might be Wheatley
If
Drive,
it passes.
$1 million bore, $100,000
So you're
bore.
saying we wouldn't lose time
You
because
wouldn't
it's
lose time.
pushed out.
No, but you'd have to
But
do
then-
your homework of like,
then we
what
do
do you
our
really
homework.
want done? Do you want the potholes filled? Do you want it regraded? Do
Pretty
you?
much just the potholes. My neighbors are very cautious about this as well. They don't want a town takeover. And I think that's a shared sentiment from private road owners, is they are skeptical of public ownership.
So we wouldn't lose any time because right now we don't have any numbers to bring. So
Right.
we could do a combination. You could come back to the board with a couple meetings over the summer, see if we can get other people on private roads to come in and talk about this, establish all the criteria, pass the bylaw with the criteria in the bylaw, then have articles that are going to go right on right away.
It's gonna have a better chance of passing if we have the information.
Because then everybody will
People are not gonna
understand.
vote for something if they're gonna say 50, 80, 75.
Right now.
Right.
People, they won't vote for it.
Mm-mm. I mean,
So
People on the
thinking
road.
for
Take
you
up
in
a
the
lot of
long run,
time.
I think it's better to have those numbers. Give
So,
us the summer to our end, the summer to your end. Because like I said, even if we prove it and it gets to the town meeting, you won't get any funding to the end, to the next annual town meeting.
well, unless, and I'm not saying this is what was going to happen, but there is a world in which the dual action passes this year. If we came up with I'm not saying
You
we're
don't
going
have the
to,
time.
we
but
don't
I'm
have
saying,
time.
We're stretched
The warrant's gonna be
close
closed.
tonight.
I understand, but you know what I'm saying?
These are big dollars. They're not just like
Well, in this case,
grocery money.
what we would be asking for the warrant for this year would be basically like $5,000. It's not a tremendous expense.
Have you done your homework to make sure that's how much it would cost?
Yes. We do this pretty much every year, so.
So you'd want to do a betterment on a $5,000 project, make it a prevailing wage project and the rest. I'd actually say for a small project like that,
It's more about setting the precedent than anything else.
It's,
And again, it's about creating an option. Maybe not one that we exercise, but one that is available to us. You know, I'm here living on this road now. You know, we're seeing a lot of turnover in the leadership of those who do maintain the road. I'm trying to do what I can. I'm not going to pretend that I'll be able to all the time, always. I'm not going to pretend my neighbors are either. I'm trying to set us all up for the greatest success that we have, reduce all of our liability, that sort of thing.
okay. Well, my recommendation is to do what I suggested.
To what? And what you said?
Yeah.
To wait?
To wait, go through the summer, come up with all the numbers, come up with our ends. Go to town meeting, have all the numbers up front.
Okay.
That's my recommendation, but whatever you guys want to do. Just a lot for a last minute article.
And I'm receptive to that, to the idea that we are kind of at the line here. I'm not a fan of the position I've put you in. Let's put it that way.
You know,
I'm just
we always
concerned that
get
people
bit
aren't
when
gonna
we do things quickly.
understand.
Do you think it'd be stronger if at a town meeting vote if we had everything together?
Oh, definitely.
Especially if
You know
you're-
how town meetings go.
If you say $5,000 and we have to pay prevailing wage, the cost could be double that, if not triple. Because that's how we have to do things. So,
Well, I wanted to ask Michael, I'm sorry to.
no, that's okay.
I wanted to ask you, Michael, if it is such a small betterment of just patching some holes, would that be contracted out? Or would the highway
Well,
department be able to do that?
And that's some of the things we'd have to establish. We're using forced labor inside. Are we gonna
Highway
reset
department.
smaller projects and the rest? You know, the problem is also bringing in we have to remember this bylaw is across the town.
I
So
understand.
while I know you're championing it because of your road
I do.
specifically, unlike the
But
Beechwood
then
one, that
Lake
was,
Drive could come in and
Beechwood
say,
was only,
we want
the
help.
thing that they did with the town was only, and we spent a year looking at that, was to benefit just that. This, because it impacts the whole town, I would say, yeah, in a year, because we could invite the other streets to come in and talk about all of them and bring something next year, very comprehensive, and basically address this going forward forever. And that,
Okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, you do highway department there, then you go to highway department, it's gonna be down at the lake. We don't,
Yeah.
highway department can't do that.
and talk
We're
about,
booked up already.
Well, I mean, we don't, but it's the sort of thing where if it was in the public interest, again, established at town meeting, it's the sort of thing we could staff. You know, to expect obligations of that scope from the highway department. And then it becomes more of a,
Okay.
we don't know what in a year to increase staff.
no, I understand, but I'm saying there are public solutions to that problem.
And that costs taxpayers a lot of money increasing.
A lot more. That's, yeah, I would say the other way would be better. And, but we could establish a certain thresholds where the town, you know, basically for smaller projects, whether or not we do forced labor, which is the term for using our own.
It's an unfortunate term.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion, we do not put it on the warrant, and we take the summer and do all the work and put it, and potentially put it on next year's warrant.
So it'd be 27,
FY 28, we'll try to bring
28,
the article,
FY 20.
bring the article back to the board and stuff. And maybe after town meeting, have them back in for some additional meetings and reach out to the other private roads and see if this is something that the town wants to.
And we get an understanding of how all this financial works, because it's a lot. So every time you push on too quickly, we end up paying for it on the road.
And again,
I'm not saying you, but it's
No,
just,
I understand
happens
I'm
quite
here
a bit.
before you today, but who knows who's behind me, so. And I don't mind coming back. Three of you are lovely people.
no, I mean,
We have maps.
I feel for you, I really do. I mean,
Yeah.
we gotta look at the whole town, and
Oh, I can get my driveway fixed.
so,
I'm surprised. I mean, if the town creates, damage in your driveway, then they're open to it.
well,
The only other thing that I wanted to bring up, just as a question, not anything I think they need a decision on, certainly not today. There is another bylaw, which is 6C, 6D, which is in the same chapter, which deals with, right, which deals with snow removal on all publicly accessible private ways in a town. I'm explicitly not asking for this because this road is not publicly accessible. Patrick, is he still there? Hi, Patrick. Patrick mentioned before that he would like that parcel to be open to the public. Doing so would make the road publicly accessible, but it is not today. That bylaw does not apply, but as we are talking about increased burden and money and obligation, I just wanted to see if there is an avenue to add the road to the list of roads maintained in the winter by the town, again, offset by betterment fees from abutters because the town has an interest in a parcel on the road. I wanted to know if there's a mechanism for us to.
Doesn't create a mechanism. There's a mechanism for private ways and it's 6C and D.
Well, that's publicly accessible private ways,
Yeah,
which this is not.
that's the only way. Because if there isn't a public good, then the town can't spend money, taxpayer money on it.
we've gone through this a couple of times. I'm not going to burden the select board on it, but we should continue to talk about
You
that.
guys continue hammering, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, we already checked that. That's not.
So I'll make the
Yeah, we
motion.
don't have snow removal on the agenda.
No, that's why.
We're done with snow. So
Thank
I'll
you,
make a
Adam.
motion, we
Of
table
course.
this until the summer and we go over everything and possibly at the next town meeting.
But, yeah, right, we get
Want
criteria
a second?
for, second, sorry,
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Thank you all for your time. You're welcome to keep the maps.
Thank you.
You don't want your stuck?
That's right there. I
Oh, yeah.
rode very well.
That means I'll ask you to take care of it personally.
Boat ramp
Thanks, Adam.
improvement
For sure.
schedule and
You
work
can keep yours?
update.
I am, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
So they begun staging up at the boat ramp. The boat ramp, we just wanted to make sure this just stays on the agenda so people are aware of it for April and May. The boat ramp will be closed. Right now, the anticipation is that we will be able to get the repairs done by the end of the month of May. I will keep the board informed if we run into any, mainly will be rain that will prevent some of the work because of runoff into the bowl. So right now, the anticipated is April and May. Like I said, they begun staging equipment and then work will be beginning. So that's really all that I have, but I plan on just putting this on the agenda and just reminding people and keeping them up to date as we go along.
So will we block off the driveway?
Yeah, the driveway, they have to do site security, the contractor and the rest. So that's all being taken care of. Yeah,
But the public beach is still open.
yes. Yeah, public beaches
It
don't.
won't be
Boat
open
ramp.
now, but it will be open.
Yeah.
Right, but just if people wanted to go sit by the lake, whatever.
We did, we did meet with all the vendors that use the lake. So they're aware of it going forward, the Arcadian shop, Paula, the different groups that use the lake. So they're all aware of it, Canyon Ranch. Yeah, we're all invited to a meeting that the state held. I was at it too. We did it here, we did it on Zoom. So people, businesses were made aware of it.
All right, we're down to the fun stuff. FY 2027 operational and capital budgets, review, discussion, possible vote to finalize.
I know what time is it.
I have,
No, wait,
I was gonna say,
wait.
No, I'm gonna buy.
Georgia, go ahead.
so several weeks ago when we were talking about the budget, I brought up regarding the salaries for staff, administration, and financial. And I felt that the town clerk's position needed to have some added, because every city and town need a town clerk, and he's the keeper of the records and everything else. And so in talking with Michael and looking at the budgets, we could do this within our budget that we have now, but by giving the town clerk an extra $1,000 per election.
What does that mean?
So in other words, each time there's an election in the year, which is at the most,
Sort of like a stipend?
right, it would be towards their salary. So we know
So in May, we have an
one,
election.
and then if we had a state election, another one, and if there was a presidential one, whatever. And that is all can fit within the election budget.
But only for the elections there are.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
So,
So if we just have a town election, it would just be 1,000.
right.
But if it was a year of several elections, it would
Is
be,
that a salary job or? Oh,
it would be like a stipend.
it is, but it's Georgia had brought it up as an additional one, which you guys could do.
But is it a salary or?
It is a salary position.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if you don't get, doesn't get the overtime for.
No.
Oh, no.
That's right, it was overtime then.
No, it's all, and it can all be included within the budget numbers we have now. Because we've looked over the last several
They
years.
talking to maybe 3,000.
Right,
Typically would be 2,000. We typically have 2 elections in a year. Sometimes you have primaries too, which can put a third. And in a very rare case, you could end up with 4.
right. And I would just like to also say that we could cover it under this year for the town clerk present and then going forward. Is that how I wanted to word that?
Yeah. We have the funds available
We have the
this year,
funds
and we
available.
would have the funds in next year's budget.
Right,
It'll be used for the election in May.
right. Because then come July 1, we have to start our new budget. Yeah, and,
Right, because that's our fiscal year.
right. So that's my proposal on that particular one there.
I'm more amenable to that than your original.
Okay. Especially since it's already been, can get covered
Yeah.
within the money that we have.
As long
And it's
as,
extra time.
the selectmen get $1,000
Yeah.
for each election.
Exactly.
And I'll
Do we have to make a vote?
If you're gonna make those
I'll
changes.
second that.
I make the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Right. Since we started with the regular budget, what, do we want to
Wait,
just stay
where's
on the
the-
regular budget?
Yeah.
Green one?
So I have no changes to the regular budget proposed. You did have one outstanding article on the regular budget, which is just the $2,500 reduction in the SBSC line item for professional services.
Oh, and I'll just say, I think it's a very good idea. I attended their last meeting on Zoom. And I found that the speakers were very informative for me, who I haven't really been involved in the lake really in a long time, but I thought that they were very informative for me, that I felt good with what we're doing about the lake. And I would like to keep that in there or add that to it. I'm sorry.
I'll keep it in there. It's actually in the budget right now.
Okay.
It was brought up as a possible.
To
So
keep
that's
it,
the only thing
keep it in there,
in the
right,
operational budget that we had opened for consideration.
right.
Chuck? No, wait. Chuck, did you have anything?
I'll let the hearing, he has to say
All
first.
right, go ahead, Michael.
You know what? I was going to say, maybe I don't have to talk. I was ready to make a speech, but I guess.
You're here, you're speaking.
Let me just say, Georgia, thank you. And I thank you for coming to the meeting.
Oh, yeah, I found it very interesting.
Yeah, the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee is mandated by the bylaws to seek scientific advice, to seek people like limnologists and biologists. And in the bylaws, the main part is general duties and responsibilities is the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Commission shall act as an advisory group to the Stockbridge Board of Selectmen to preserve and protect the Stockbridge Bowl, its watershed and ecosystem by utilizing unified scientific information. It goes on that we should routinely communicate with expert limnologists, biologists, lake managers, and other experts, recommending projects and actions in response to environmental conditions and stakeholders' concerns to preserve the health of the lake, watershed, and ecosystem. And that is why we're asking for $2,500. And the $2,500 is, we're laymen. We're all volunteers, but we can't help the select board if we're not educated. And we have to turn to educators to give us a history. So when you came to the meeting, we learned so much from the limnologist. We learned about thermal layers, cyanobacteria blooms, oxygenation, water temperatures. We would not be able to dissect that on our own. Even if they gave us the information, I would not know, and neither would the group know how to interpret that unless we had limnologists or people that could educate us. So we're asking, I was going to ask for $5,000, but we figured let's start with $2,500.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
because this is new for us too, but it's so important for us to be able to go to experts and ask them to talk to us about certain conditions. There's so many conditions. This is a living piece of property that is so important to our well-being as a town. And I'm just going to give you where the limnologist actually saved the town. We were doing water testing for 6 years with a budget of about between $40,000 and $44,000. And this year we went to the limnologist and said, could you look at this and see what we can do? Do we need to do all these tests? And he went through it and gave us a new budget, which was $20,000 less. So the town is saving $20,000 because the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee went to a limnologist who puts it together. And they said, no, we have enough data that we don't have to do all the different tests. You heard that.
Right.
And so in many ways, the limnologist not only saved us money, but educated us. It's so important that we have some freedom so that we can learn from these professionals on how to guide ourselves so we can better guide you, that's our job as a consultant. I think it just makes sense to, we're just hoping that this committee was established by the Select Board with the intention of fostering a well-educated group. I have a whole thing, but I think you get the gist of why it's so important for us to have a budget in order to get educators to educate us so we can better understand the science of the lake.
Okay, so.
It's really not a large amount.
Up to 2,500, but you want a 5, so they cut it down to 25.
I got it, yeah.
And it's strictly earmarked for
people to come, yeah.
or that, and who decides?
Well, the group will decide. Well,
What's going on with the lake at the time?
yeah, and the thing is that we don't want this to become, if we don't have the education, we're going to be constantly reactive rather than proactive. We're not going to be able to get ahead of anything. We're just going to be reacting to things that are happening. So I'm hoping that as a group, we're coming into our own of really getting educated. And we sent you things that we would like to discuss with the Select Board, but we just want that ability to get experts to come and educate us.
Okay.
I just have where was the water chestnut
Oh,
money?
So
That's-
right now in the budget where it is right now, we have 27,000 for the 650 for the limnologist, 2,500 for other professional services, and then 15,000 for the water chestnuts. Prior years, we paid for the water chestnuts out of the ARPA funds that we no longer
ARPA
have
funds.
availability
Okay.
for, so that we were proposing to put that under the SBSC. So the SBSC would have
Big
those.
budget.
what?
Yeah, big budget.
Well, the water
It's not
chestnut,
earmarked, but.
right. The water chestnuts is a very interesting scenario
Yeah. We
because
can get into that. That's a long one because it may or may not happen.
It may or may
We have to
not.
find
Well,
somebody
we have
that
a
does it.
lot to talk
Yes.
about
because it's so important, it's so invasive. And the harvester I'm doing so much research on it. The harvester is an integral part of, since we can't get divers, of controlling.
But I don't think that one's up for discussion.
No, I understand that, but
No, I'm just asking for the.
you know what? I should be allowed some lead time. I waited patiently.
So,
The 20.
Anyway,
no.
yes.
2,500 we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I cut Patrick off. I'm cutting this off.
Yeah. No, what happened,
Well, that's good.
I think the water chestnut was brought up. That's why.
I did.
Yeah,
so,
Because of the total budget.
yeah,
It's going to be under your line item.
yeah.
so. You're an advisory board to selectmen for the lake. And I've been selectman for a long time, more than should have.
All of us.
So I think we should set up either twice or three times a year to meet. Because I don't recall ever having
Never.
meetings, updates and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we should schedule
Well, I have no issues with that.
meetings.
What I felt,
So we know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Town knows what you're
yeah,
doing.
so what we've been doing, so let me just,
I know it's off the subject here,
No,
but
yeah, you are going up. So
oh,
but I
okay.
think it's just
Okay.
Right, we can get that set up.
I think,
Yeah,
I would
we
really
still
like
have a
to
lot
do
to
that.
get through.
So, yeah, so, well, since it's, can I just say something?
We're on the 2,500.
Okay, great.
I'm a
great.
taskmaster.
Yeah,
I'll make a
okay, good
motion.
for you. So the $2,500 is very important to us as a committee, that we have that ability to.
And we'll get together something.
Yeah. You don't have to take any action on it. It's already in the budget. You only have to take action if you're gonna remove it.
Okay.
Oh, so we're not removing it?
No, I mean, at least we haven't voted yet.
Oh,
We haven't voted.
Oh, okay.
I, Georgia. You made the motion? I guess I'll second it.
Okay.
Sorry. Aye.
Aye.
Nay,
Okay.
Okay.
Remains in the budget.
it's still in
All
there.
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we will meet.
Absolutely.
Before you close the operating budget, I'd like to speak.
We're still talking about the budget.
Yeah.
I
we didn't
think that was
close
the
it.
last thing.
No,
Nope.
Okay.
I have nothing else on the operational budget.
That was the last of you.
wait, Georgia has, she always has more.
Yeah,
No, it was just those two, town clerk
Yeah.
and,
But what about the,
we're gonna go to the capital
Kennel.
budget next. That's the
oh,
capital budget.
operation?
Yep, the operating budget.
Chuck, do you
I
have
have
anything?
nothing. I think we're looking really great. Mike did a great job. Our
Yeah.
guys are doing good. Town's doing great. I couldn't be any happier
Patrick,
until Patrick gets up.
I would like to address the
operational.
operational. I understand. Chuck and Michael, how many calls does Lee? I'm here representing the Southern Berkshire Volunteer Ambulance.
That's gonna be. a different-
Capital.
I want to talk about operation. How many calls does Lee service for Stockbridge a year?
I don't
What do you mean?
recall.
It's around 200, isn't it?
I think it's something like
I
that.
remember.
I
when
can get those,
the
I can get
200.
those numbers, right.
Last year, SBVAS responded to 40 911 calls for the town of Stockbridge. I checked with our chief of operations today. We have never asked the town, because I didn't even know when I was on this board that this was the case. We have never asked this town for operational support. We just had to order a third emergency.
Under capital.
we're just doing capital. We haven't,
We're not doing capital. This is operations. I am suggesting that with all the primary 911, and we cover the furnace district primary, we're not covering, this isn't mutual aid. We cover primary the same way that Lee covers primary for the rest of the town. And I think that right now, where we just had to order an emergency third ambulance and have an ambulance bill of over $1 million that assisting us in the capital budget until you guys get up and running is the reasonable and right thing to do. We've never asked, and I am the guy that runs the numbers, and we are stuck. And I'm telling you, Southern Berkshire Ambulance can't fail. There is no backup. All right. And so if we're doing 40 calls out of 200, 250, some reasonable allocation of costs where for years we've never asked for help, and we've covered the furnace district and anybody else down there that needed somebody. These guys don't care about the money. They just care about saving lives. I'm the guy tasked with caring about the money. And I'm telling you, it is bad and getting worse. We've talked about the problem with insurance, as people go to 65 and go into Medicare, we get half reimbursements or cut versus private insurance. We are absolutely stuck, and Stockbridge has been getting something for nothing for decades. You know, I talked to Jim, who's a 50-year volunteer and the president of our board today, and we've been covering it as long as he can remember.
That's the 25,000.
No, the 25,000 is to help with the ambulance.
I don't get it. I don't know, understand.
I'm happy to sell for anything, but I'm telling you, like,
All we have is
That's
25,000.
capital.
Right, for capital.
He's not.
right, and the ambulance purchases are over $1 million.
Right, but
So
we
it's
don't
a
have
percentage.
an
Yes, I
ask
know. I'm
for
bringing it up
operational,
today.
but it's not a new.
oh, this is something.
So you're asking for 25 and 25 for the ambulance.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, you're asking for two.
Yeah.
Oh,
We don't have that.
Well, but
I mean,
I would not recommend either of them for the operational budget
Right.
because we're gonna be up and running next year.
You're up already in fiscal 27?
28.
Yeah, but this is the budget for 27.
Right. But I'd still, for a
In the
one,
last year, what I'm saying is in the last year that we're covering operations.
Patrick, I am saying that if it's a one-time, 1 year, and then we're going to be up, I would not recommend putting it on the tax. Me and you had lots of discussions about not putting
You're talking about
time items on.
I'm talking about whether it's operating.
Right, that's why I said, let's discuss it during capital, because capital, this is a one-time.
Well, this was last,
This is a-
just deal with it now since I'm here.
This is
The first thing on capital. I don't care how you.
the request we received officially from the ambulance service.
I'm just saying that you all got to work together on this stuff. Both, I think, speaking for my organization, we want to support you guys however you can get up to run. I've given you a copy of our entire budget to help you plan. We're trying to be good team members. South County is like kind of screwed on stuff and, you know.
But, so you're asking now us.
This
for-
page.
No, he just asked for an additional,
I know.
No, 20.
nothing in front of you for another
Oh,
20,
yeah.
50,000 altogether.
1,000, okay.
That's not even
No, it's
on,
on here,
where?
on the summary. Selectboard ambulance, one-time request of 25,000, summary, 25.
Right, but that was for, and they now he's
Patrick
asking
is-
for another
Now he's coming to
25.
double dip.
25,000 for.
We just had an ambulance fail that's going to cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So
So it's
25,
that emergency thing.
the 25,000 is for the coverage of the calls they're asking for.
Yeah, we had the requests for the coverage of the furnace district and that they had to do another ambulance. The request was for $25,000, the letter that we received. That is what I put before you guys
And
for
this
tonight to
letter.
discuss. And now Patrick has asked
For another.
for another
25,
25, which would be
50,000,
50.
because the sky's today.
I know personally, I've always been a big fan that every community should either be paying into a service or operating a service. Therefore, you're providing something mutual. We're a full participant in Lee, so.
In Lennox.
And Lennox, yeah. So whether or not that's up to the board, how we want to do this. Can I just walk through what we have? So we now have an additional request, and then I can walk through the other capital ones that we did. So we received these are the new ones. 14,406 from the town of Lee due to the improvements that need to be made to the dog kennel over there for us to continue to operate a kennel. Ollie's Law has required now that kennels are inspected by the state. Opioid settlement funds allocation. So the state, the opioid settlement, they give us the money, they make us claim it as additional revenue. They don't let you put it in a special revenue account. No one knows why. But what you have to do is every couple of years, you have to appropriate the money out, and then the select board would assign it to a group that's doing opioid treatment. So that's
Didn't we do that at the-
$12,904.
Place in Great Barrington.
That's what we recommended, but we didn't do it with it.
We didn't?
Then we realized we had to do it as a free cash appropriation first. And then I'll come back for you guys to do it for the Railroad Street project. So, we have an additional item of a one-time request from Southern Berkshire Ambulance of 25,000.
Right.
And now we have an additional request from Southern Berkshire
Which
Ambulance
equals 50.
for an additional 25,000, 25 for the ambulance and 25 for the coverage. Originally in the letter was both. So that's where we're at for the board to consider. We right now have 1,131,000. If we add the 50, that would still leave us with 112,000 to move into stabilization. If you were to.
Which, the green one?
Yeah, if you see at the bottom, so we agreed that our financial policy was that we would never use more than, we would always have 5% of our budget in free cash go to next year. That was the policy, the Board of Selectmen. So if you see right down here where it says balance, 851, whatever's above 5%, we move into stabilization. So we just move it into our savings account. And so we could have spent that 162,000 and still be within our bylaw. We've asked, there's now an additional request of 50,000.
We give 152,000 approximately to the ambulances. to the Lee and Lennox.
Yes. We used to pay 225,000 to Lee and the 77 to Lennox. And we do pay the 77,000 to Lennox to cover the north portion of the lake.
And does Lee and Lennox serve the entire Stockbridge or not?
No, Lennox covers only the northern portion
Okay.
and Lee covers the remainder of the town,
Except the furnaces.
except for the furnace district, which is covered by Southern.
Why doesn't it go to the
Oh.
furnace?
Because we can get there
That's-
faster.
They get there.
And lives get saved if you get there in 6 minutes versus 12 minutes, you know, that whole thing.
I know that
No,
part.
it's just, yeah.
I just wanted to know
Yeah.
the breakdown. Pay more taxes.
Well, this would be a free cash allocation of money that's available, and we'd still be putting money in the stabilization. So,
You know, just one other point, we cover 5 times more mutual aid calls than we request. We are basically the linchpin of emergency service, the only paramedic service out of Lee and Lennox in the whole county right now. It's one of those things where these guys just want to save a life. I mean, it's really kind of touching to be part of this organization. You know, you guys work with these types all the time, you know, but the numbers have to work. You look at what happened in Adams, where it took so quick for a service to fail. The numbers have to work. And I think this is really a community obligation for South County.
so do we want to go through the 3 requests now and take them one at a time?
Yeah.
How would you like to proceed on this?
Do one at a time.
All right, so for the dog kennel, 14,406.
We're obligated for
They
that.
based it on
Do
the
we have to do it?
EQV.
We're pretty much obligated to do that.
If we want to have a kennel,
Yeah.
it is going to be contingent on the use.
And building our own
Yes,
by a few $100,000.
yeah.
No, I remember the dog warden talking about this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we put that on today.
All right. Opioid settlement,
Wait, do we have?
we
to
could do, do
a
you want to do them all together or individual?
Separate.
All right, separate. So a motion then?
I'll make a motion, this out of free
Second.
cash, correct?
Yep.
Make a motion, we take the 14,406 out of free cash for the dog kennel only.
I'll second. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Passes.
Opioid settlement funds allocation. This
So we
money
take that out.
It's money we
And
received.
we get it back.
We're gonna, well, we've already received it. It's already in our free cash collected over the couple of years. Like I said,
We have to give it. out,
everybody
right?
started and we started by putting in a special revenue account and then the state came back and said, no, you have to claim it as free cash. And we're like, wait, we're supposed to take it in and then put it out, but that's the way they wrote the law was you actually have to.
Kind of stupid because now you can't.
Oh, yeah, no, every accountant, treasurer and that, I think in the county goes, so we have to track it and then remember at town meeting to pull that number forward and
If it
then
was in a special account, you just take it right out and pay
you
it.
would just take it out and pay it, right, by authorization of select.
this would be out of free cash.
Yeah.
Then we would have to allocate it somewhere.
We have
No,
to give it
then the select board has to choose a,
program.
right after town meeting, you would approve a program
program.
that does opioid
Do we
treatment.
have a list of programs or we have?
We would have to just make sure they meet the criteria.
Okay.
Yeah. At 12,904.
So it's a zero, really.
Yeah, we,
Comes in and
it's
comes
money
out.
and in and out, yep.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Passes.
Oh, no.
You want to treat, good. So I will just put it forward now that the request from Southern Berkshire Ambulance
25.
is 25 for the ambulance and 25 for coverage of the furnace district, a total of 50,000. You could take it, there's 2 separate requests.
well, I'd like to see something in writing about the ambulance. Patrick's here telling us about it, but we have this nice letter about the 25,000. I mean, I'm just like being a devil's advocate here.
Patrick is the chief financial
Before we-
officer.
Well, I-
Signing Southern.
First of all, between you and me, I drafted the letter, you know, and,
But I'm
and
just saying, you're saying
That is legal. That's.
now that the ambulance is not working
we had one fail 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, and now you're coming to ask us,
Well, we ordered a replace. We have an emergency.
well, you had to
replacement
order it. I understand that, but it would have been nice if you were thinking about asking us for an extra 25 to
Yeah.
give
And
us
it
a
wasn't
heads
an
up.
emergency, no pun, but
Okay,
the usual
I mean, the-
ice falling.
I am happy to draft a letter and drop it off if you want to leave the warrant open. It's just I didn't know till tonight that you were planning on closing the warrant tonight.
Oh, we want to close the warrant tonight. Oh,
So,
Sorry about that, by the way. That's a little bit of Patrick chaos, you know.
I mean, I'm not going to ask that question. Never mind.
we're officially going to be open our ambulance in a week. It could be earlier. Correct.
We have
On our own,
We
without,
might be running some runs just to get us up, but we're talking the last quarter of next year at the earliest.
basic.
Basic, we won't be fully up and operational until June. Right now, we're trying to shoot for June to be up and running and then and be fully operational
was
July
July.
1st. Technically, our agreement with West Stockbridge is to have it up and running July 1st. You've signed the letter, we're
Yeah.
putting in for the ambulance, the rest. We got the ambulance coming, our primary ambulance coming. We've got everything set. I don't see any reasons why, but we're going to be running at least 10 months back 10 to 11 months. We're going to be covered by Lee Lennox and Southern Berkshire Ambulance.
And can I just remember too, that while we're talking about the fiscal 27 budget, we went professional in 2014. That was 12 years ago. For 12 years, we paid the salaries to cover this portion of Stockbridge and never asked for a nickel to do it. Now I'm telling you, we're stuck. And so this is obviously this is a forward-looking budget, but this has been an arrangement that's benefited the town. I never even knew about it when I was on the board. These guys don't even think to ask you for a little bit of money to help cover their cost. I think it's pretty extraordinary that so much was given, and now there's an ask going in the other direction, and I hope that it's considered.
Well, I've known it ever since we did the 911.
Yeah.
That we had
Right.
three.
That's why you're better at this job than I ever was, Georgia.
So what's the turnaround time for the ambulance?
It delivers in 2 weeks.
You know, in 2 weeks, it was taking us 3 years.
I know. We ordered an emergency one off the floor.
Wasn't that expensive?
Can't not have an ambulance. People die.
There are they do have ambulances that are available on emergency
But
services.
don't you pay extra?
You'd be surprised how many provisions are in place there's surplus fire trucks that get sometimes shipped to other towns and emergencies.
Yeah,
I know for a while Lee was in North Adams. Their engine was running because, there's mechanisms set up in emergency situations.
they have demos they give out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get to customize it. You don't get to anything else. You're offering it as is.
Let's do. I guess I'll make a motion that we'll take each one separate, or should we do them together?
You're making a
I'm
motion.
comfortable with the 25 for the coverage.
You are or not?
He is.
We'll get into our own stuff and everything now, but for 1 year. Those years we haven't paid. Not 100%, but that one will sleep over it.
Well, let's do them separate then.
And you could always do the capital one as a warrant article.
Go ahead.
Well, is Chucky making a motion for the 25?
You were.
What do you feel? What was
I
your?
wanted to make them separate.
Yeah, that's
I
not.
could-
So let's do the operation, let's do the CERT, the coverage one.
The one that Patrick wrote the letter.
Both gonna come out of free cash.
Right,
All right,
okay.
if approved.
Okay, well,
If you, are you going to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for the 25.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I don't know if you're making a 25, vote on the floor. Can we do that?
You mean for towards the new ambulance?
For the.
Well,
We do
Did you want it listed as a separate article?
put it as an article.
Well, they both would be separate articles.
Yeah.
This one we will do,
We just did out of free cash.
Right.
but it'll be an
That
article, but
would be an article, but then this other one will be.
well, they'll both be articles.
Right, they'll both be separate. You're right.
Right.
You want them treated as two separate
Two
articles.
separate articles.
All right, yeah, we can do that.
Let the
I mean, I'd rather see the first one just part of the general operating budget, obviously, but it's up to you.
Oh, yeah, because there's
No,
only one,
because we did,
one-time thing, because once we get up and running, we'll be covering.
Right.
We'll be
Lee and
covering
Amber.
the
The whole,
You
Lee
won't
and
be
Lennox are
covering the person
under.
that's sick.
you'll mutual aid, but we'll be mutual aiding you guys too.
Look, the recommendation of the select board goes a long way. If you put it on there, I'd appreciate it.
Paramedic, we'll be covering you guys too.
You guys gonna be paramedic?
We're gonna be
Okay,
paramedic.
good.
Yeah.
Get up,
Oh, I mean,
get
that's,
up and running next week, because,
We're still a year out, but we're working toward it.
so
All right.
once you stop service there, will be your paramedic backup.
yeah, good.
So if you get a basic run up through,
All right,
guess who's gonna meet you?
all right.
I mean,
Michael has said it right. We just need more ambulances on the road in South County, and I think what you're doing is fantastic. It's just absolutely fantastic.
I don't want to lose Richmond. I want to gain ambulances,
Yeah.
not just
That's right.
move one. We need to gain them 100%. We need more than one gaining, but at least we're doing it.
All right.
So I make a motion, we put the other one on the warrant.
second.
Let the town vote.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. I appreciate your help.
So you'll write us a letter?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Need it, but yeah.
So now we're down the thing, but you know.
Just, a rundown of,
That closes the capital budget and now we have the warrant. So
Um,
So we have the following articles for annual town meeting. Our first five are all first four are all the standard ones that we do. That are the moderator, select board, we appoint the officers and the rest. Article 4 is our operating budget. We'll have the detail on exhibit 1 as we usually have. We have Article 5, which is the Berkshire Hills Regional School District. Article 6 is their capital costs, which I will note to people, it's only $37,009. So the new school is not in.
Yeah.
Article 7 is appropriation from OPEB to cover the retirement health insurance costs. Article 8 is the amendment to the zoning bylaws. The planning board will be meeting next.
They'll be speaking at the town meeting.
Yep. It'll be presented next Tuesday at theirs, but we can close the warrant. If they fail to move it through their meeting, we would take no action at town meeting.
So, can I just, and then at the end of that, will you write or to take any other action relation there too?
I don't believe that.
We have to?
I don't believe that's there because it goes through the whole process.
Okay.
Because it's a zoning one. This either gets passed or they might amend some language, but you don't get to take any other. I'll double check that, but I don't think that in this case.
Okay.
Article 9 are our free cash appropriations. So I will note that I will be adding the free cash appropriations for the Southern Berkshire ambulance
so it'll be 19.
and the articles for those. We list these individual. I won't go through all of them.
Right,
These
but it
are
would
all the
be
general.
like 19 and 20.
Yep, 19 and 20, and I will adjust the amount to go into the stabilization account.
I have a question.
Yes.
Of course you do.
So on all of them, it says transfer and appropriate. On number 14.
14 is missing, and yes, I will fix that
And
it's supposed to say transfer and appropriate. I don't know why it just says and appropriate, so that is.
save money on ink.
Yeah.
And then under 16, there needs to be a dollar sign.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's a typo.
Sorry to be so picky.
Nope, thank you.
The people will bring that up.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. Article 10 is our available sewer projects. Article 11 are the water items. Article 12 are all the Community Preservation Committee appropriations.
It takes long for them to figure out how they're gonna vote on them, who does the vote on them.
Right. Yeah,
Single all together, everything else.
Right.
Like, can we get that set from the beginning, or is that something that gets pushed on the floor?
as far as
No, because each one gets voted on, right?
we vote as a group
Group?
unless there's a hold.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then,
If somebody calls out for a hold, that item
then
is held.
somebody argue that they want to do each one individually, then it's like a half-hour debate, and then it's just. But.
Article 13 is to amend the general bylaws of the town of Stockbridge by striking the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee in its entirety, hereby eliminating said committee and from the general bylaw.
Well, I don't think we should have that if we just created a budget for them. I mean, I think,
but it's in the bylaws, so just to make, they could be a committee.
Can you repeat that?
So what's the purpose?
To see if the town would amend the general bylaws of the town of Stockbridge by striking the article entitled Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee in its entirety, thereby eliminating said committee.
And is there a reason for that, or?
That was a request.
Right, it was written in, it got, when a different chair had it, they put it into the bylaws, which makes it really difficult to maneuver. It's unlike any other committee we have or any other advisory committee. So to change it out of the bylaws into just a regular committee.
I was going to say that, just put it into regular committee.
You'd have to then vote to establish a subcommittee of the select board, sort of like the Fountain Committee or committees like that.
Does that mean that the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee would cease to exist? Or is no longer an advisory committee, or it's in a committee unto itself? I'm not sure. Could you explain that to me, Michael?
Well, no, this article would eliminate the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee. The Board of Selectmen could then create a subcommittee, such as the Fountain Committee or something else if they so choose, but it would eliminate the bylaw.
That Mark and what would the reason behind it do? Give us more control over it, or it gives?
I don't know. This was.
Is this?
By,
It will eliminate the bylaw requirement of the committee. Therefore, to eliminate the committee as it exists now. After town meeting, the Board of Selectmen could, if it so choose, establish a subcommittee and whatever, but it wouldn't have any bylaw attachment.
I haven't read the bylaws, so I don't know what's in the bylaws, so, but as I said before, after going to their meeting, I found it very interesting and very helpful. And now that we have their budget, if they were to be eliminated, they wouldn't have control over their budget.
That'd be the select board.
The select board would.
Yeah. I can read out I could print out the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee's bylaw if you want a copy of it right now.
you have it, don't you?
I just took the part that said
Because
that
they were tasked with making the lake management plan, which was done, and it was tasked, doesn't mean it couldn't be a committee, which we have a lot of committees. But it seems like it gets stuck because it's in the bylaws. We always have this sort of, like it's, what's the word I'm looking for?
What's the advantage of getting rid of the Stockbridge? What's the advantage of it? In other words, how does this benefit the town by eliminating this committee that is an advisory committee on looking, who else is gonna look? You're gonna go to who else is gonna look after or get information from limnologists or whatever it is for,
We have,
as an
we have
advisor?
Mike Buffoni in the water department who's doing the water sampling. We have the Board of Health, we have Tri-Town Health.
Did you come up with this, Jamie, to eliminate it?
It is, we have many committees,
I understand we have many committees. I'm
We have
asking you a
many-
question.
and I answered it. We have many committees. And the bylaw has always caused a lot of grit.
I just don't understand how it benefits of this. But
All right.
Give me one. Yes, no, I will have this printed off in a moment.
I'm sorry, just,
And the selectmen appoint these committee members?
We have, yes,
And
there's 9.
The membership is.
what's the term limits?
Forever.
yearly, you can get rid of all of us.
So every year we never have.
Theoretically, you haven't, but you can.
So that was our fault too.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna
Well,
say that
You know
typically
the history.
committees like that have terms. If it's a long-term committee.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
so.
can stop the conversation on the floor, please.
Okay,
Thanks. We can always come back. We could finish the other while Michael looks for something and
You wanna, if there,
we can keep
you wanna
going.
go through the rest and I'll work on getting. We actually, we had this on.
The next one is about Interlake and,
183, extending eastward the distance.
the Curtisville Bridge.
I think Mike explain that one.
So,
Will discontinue portion of the public way.
right, which has to go to town meeting, and it's the
Oh,
part,
it's that little road, that little,
Each side
yes.
of the bridge, we gotta,
so what would we
Discontinue.
call it?
So it would go like this, we would discontinue this part.
yeah.
And then the part that goes over the bridge now, which is, nobody can go over, we were proposing to have another bridge put on top of it
The walkway.
with like a
bicycle bridge.
walkway and then have flowers on each side. And
What would
then,
we call it?
Well, that's down the road.
Yeah, I actually presented that before. We put a walk bridge. It's
Right,
still
I remember
Curtisville
that.
Bridge. It would just be, the physical bridge would be kept as a monument, not as a actual
So it's just
vehicle or
pedestrian.
pedestrian bridge, because if you're a pedestrian bridge, you have to meet the ASHTO standards. And if you're a vehicle bridge, you have to meet the chapter 85. By removing it, it's just going to be a structure. We bring in stone basins, just maintain it to just keep it up. But the bridge we put over would extend 20 feet either direction.
Like the one
So it'd be off of, but you'd walk over. It's like the one that's on the dam. Yes.
yeah. And the Historic Commission approved the design because that is a historic bridge.
They really approved it?
Yeah,
Wow.
the design, yeah. And it's kind of gonna look like the Shelburne Bridge of Flowers, if you've
Oh,
ever
okay,
seen
yeah.
like that,
No, I
that
haven't
type
seen
of
that.
thing. Yeah, no, it's nice.
I don't like plant flowers, I like plant vegetables and stuff and keep the town.
What is this?
Go to the food pantry.
Okay, so 17 is,
15, 16, 7.
well, the red has been struck.
Okay, right. To see
17, so it'll have to be reordered.
available.
To see if the town will transfer the appropriate the sum of 5,000 from available cemetery trust fund for the purpose of completing work around the flag area installed at the cemetery? What
Yeah,
is
so they
that?
put in a cemetery, they put a flag area
But
over,
I thought we already paid for that.
For the flag you did, they want to do landscaping, bench, some other stuff around the flag. The cemetery commission is asking to take $5,000 out of the cemetery perpetual care fund and use it to make
Trust fund.
finish that
We don't have-
trust fund, sorry. Not perpetual, you're right, yes. Not perpetual care, it's a trust fund, yes. And use that to make further improvements around the flagpole area.
And they have money for that?
They have 122,000 in that account.
All right.
They're asking to use 5 of it.
okay.
Do you have a member of the Stockbridge Sportsman Club?
You guys changed the
No,
membership.
Change that.
That whole thing.
That
was
Changed all that. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a.
How could you change it if it's not changed in the bylaw?
We did.
If you read in the bylaw, it actually states that the Board of Selectmen have the
Stakeholder
ability
group
to
may be
change.
modified at the discretion
Oh,
of the
okay.
select board by now.
So we don't have G.
Actually, you don't have any, the decision was to just make it interested individuals.
So it's our fault that we never,
Yes,
We
we
never-
talked about this a few years ago.
You don't have to change the bylaw. You have the ability to make.
it was our fault that we didn't say every July 1st that if you're interested in being on the Stock Service Commission, put your name.
No, because originally.
Because it was gonna die,
No, it
and
did-
so
so-
then we opened it up, and then we did get many people who were
Yeah,
interested.
but we
So we
should-
took away
But we
this,
should do that every
This.
July.
Yeah, that's part of our.
We haven't, but
Yeah,
it's
but no,
our
we
fault.
have. It's been a part of our, yeah, it's been part of our list of openings
Did we
for the Board of Selectmen.
Ever
I
since?
don't
We
remember
put the
last
list out.
year.
We put the list out every year of all the different, you have tons of boards.
Okay.
Do that list at the end of June where you appoint
I know, we-
all the individuals for the year. There's a whole bunch of them.
Okay,
Yeah, Teresa does that list for you guys and we post it on the website.
okay, that's all it is. We do it. Huh.
That's how we got the interest. Before that, we didn't. It was, we wrote the individual boards or committees to have them come forward.
So let's see, Stockbridge Commission shall act on the advisory group of the Stockbridge Board.
I think,
And it provide public information, educational resources to the residents of Stockbridge regarding the current status of Stockbridge Bowl watershed to promote community responsibility and involvement. Isn't that the SBA?
the SBA is a private organization,
It's a nonprofit.
nonprofit, but it's not a town organization.
We're still talking, thanks.
So there's 7 members, but not necessarily the ones that are listed
Yeah,
here.
we disbanded that.
Yeah,
But I'm sorry, maybe I'm being thick here, but
Go ahead.
I understand one to be appointed from each stakeholder group listed below.
Because when the original, when the chair of the chair between me and Michael, she made it a bylaw and she wanted these certain, but then when the group was ready to disband, we said, well, we'll give it one more go. And we opened it to the public and there were enough people that were interested, just regular people, and we allowed some non-residents that were part-time residents to equal enough people, which are 9.
We have 7, currently we have 7 voting, 2 non-voting. I came before the
Okay.
board
We're still talking. Thank you.
I guess so if this is a bylaw and you eliminated Stockbridge Sportsman's Club,
It's not in there anymore.
That's all done. This is
but it's showing up on the bylaws of the town of Stockbridge.
Because that's how the bylaw is written.
written, but
But there's a
And so I'm
clause up
saying-
above
So
that
like,
says in any given.
start
that
over.
The board can modify the list,
modified it.
and they made them all open.
And just start over.
We can modify anything on this bylaw without going to town meeting.
No, not everything.
No.
None of it.
You're allowed where the members come from. It's right in the first.
Well, then
This is
next
the
time we
only-
change our bylaws, we should get rid of that and just have that one sentence. Okay.
You see, this is where it's all gritty and messy. It's like not clean.
Well, Stockbridge Stewardship Commission shall act as an advisory group and the Stockbridge will serve to protect the Stockbridge Bowl, Magnetic, watershed, scientific spacing collection and SBA
If
responsible.
it wants to be a committee, it can be a
Added.
committee.
And may be added to the discretion of the board of select. If you add that. It's still advisory board.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Well, I, I personally think at this point, I would keep it.
Chuck,
I'm still reading. Okay, so. Middle. I would,
District 16.
I just think Stockbridge Bowl is such a major part of our town that I like this idea of this is a commission, not a committee. I know we have a lot of committees and so forth that
Chuck,
let's say, question addition committee, well, it's a committee.
it's a commission.
I would recommend keeping it as is, but I would want a quarterly meeting.
Okay.
With the,
Then we'll
Okay.
just renumber.
is that okay?
Yeah.
I think we need to meet. I think that's our fault by not
Well,
communicating.
I don't think we should look at it as fault or anything. I just think we should make it going
I think
forward.
we need
I
to
think it's a great,
be a little more involved, a little more,
right, so.
Let the public know more.
Well, and it says right here, maintain communication
Yeah,
with
and
all
that's-
of us.
yeah,
All right.
both.
Let's
both
just,
ends.
we'll just strike it and we'll move on and just to go on. So do we need a motion?
Yes.
A motion to accept the warrant with the exclusions that we made and the renumbering needed. Right, because you'll need to renumber.
Yeah, I'll renumber
And
and
the-
send it to
and the
legal to
typos.
review. Yep.
Second,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The warrant's closed.
It's closed.
All right, so
Are
announcement,
we still in?
For another year.
okay,
That's enough.
um. And so I got a letter from Katie Swede and it said, I'd like to extend a sincere thank you to Mountain One Insurance for serving as our lead sponsor and generously donating $500 to the Parks and Recs Commission for our first annual Spring Fling Egg Hunt. They also provided stuffed animal goats, books, reusable bags for all the children, and even brought must be Mountain One, the goat, for a photo op. I would also like to thank Amy and Noah from the coffee shop on Elm Street for donating coupons for free hot cocoa, Claire from the Lost Lamb for providing free cookie coupons, and Teresa from the country store for offering penny candy for the kids. These coupons were stuffed into the eggs and were a huge hit. This event would not have been possible without the energy, thoughtfulness, and enthusiasm of Linda Barbadero from Parks and Recreation, along with the help of her husband, daughter, and 2 grandchildren and her friends. They stuffed over 900 eggs for this event. Respectfully submitted, Katie Swede.
I want to say, I went with my granddaughters and there was a lot of little kids and there were eggs in the ground from the fence down over the hill. And the kids had a great time. It was a great first event. And my hat goes out to the parks for doing it. It really brought the community together. It was a really great turnout and it was just a really great time. The kids got the kids in the park.
Any other announcements?
I think we have another piece of business to do. Michael,
Yeah. We do.
What?
the 2 appointments.
Where?
We do plan. Oh,
Where?
work, jobs.
But they're not on here. I don't see them on my agenda.
I know, but I thought, when I asked
What's that?
this morning,
They're not on the agenda.
this wasn't specifically on the agenda, but you said it should be. We should
Oh,
talk about
part of the
it.
budget.
Part
Yes,
of the budget, because it's part of the budget.
right. My
Oh.
fault. Sorry. I
So do we have to reopen it?
distracted.
Of
Did
course.
you vote? Yeah, you could vote to reopen the meeting if you already voted to close it.
Can I reopen, a vote to reopen, or a motion to reopen the meeting?
Well, we didn't close it.
Oh, you didn't close it? All
Well,
right.
didn't we close that part of the
You
meeting?
closed the warrant. That's okay.
You sure?
Yeah, because this has nothing to do with the warrant. The warrant has these in here. So I'm recommending the reassignment of Tammy Ponce. She's been acting as our assistant assessor, assistant town clerk, and assistant treasurer, tax collector. She is interested in the position of the town clerk. She's worked many years in the clerk's office as the assistant, and I think it would be good for us to transfer her into that position as town clerk. We would then go out, we'd post the position for the assistant, her old position. And then the other one is reassigning Erica Olson from town treasurer tax collector to town accountant and go out on a search for a new treasurer tax collector.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have to do them separately?
You can do them together or separate.
I'll make a motion. We will approve the
Appointments.
job appointments. Yes, he deserves it. She did a great job filling in everywhere. I mean, she's fits in the town very nicely. She earned it.
Yeah.
That's 100% backing from me on that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.